People who have had their blizzard spill when the DQ worker turns it upside down. How do you feel about it? I worked at a DQ for a while in high school. Sometimes when you blend a blizzard, depending on the toppings, you can get holes in the cup. If it's not busy you can just remake it or put it in a new cup. But it was busy that night, so the person who made the blizzard just dropped the cup into another cup and forgot to tell me. I was working drive-through. When I went to hand it out I turned it upside down like always and the original cup fell out onto the ground. The people in the car thought it was hilarious. Not me, but my friend used to work DQ back in high school. He said ordering the banana split blizzard has a 50/50 chance of splattering out because of the juices in crap. He said this one guy working drive-through had his fall out onto his brand new shoes and he chucked the soggy cup at the wall after he got the customer a new one and had driven off. Really bad. The DQ near my house growing up had issues from time to time with their blizzard machine and they thought they had it back up and running. The employee poured mine and it was obviously not thick enough. His manager walked up and asked why he wasn't turning it upside down. The employee tried to explain that it would spill and the manager interrupted and said if he didn't do it he would be fired. The look on the employee's face made it very clear that I had just walked in on the end of a very long feud. He turned the cup upside down and it spilled all over the counter. He threw his hat into the puddle and walked out. I did not get a free blizzard. I actually had this happen. They flipped my very preggo wife's Reese's blizzard in the building. It fell out, and the tiny little 16-year-old said crap really loud. They remade it and didn't flip the new one. Must have been new. Reese's is one of the hardest blizzards to mess up. I had an old guy force me to flip his blizzard upside down outside the drive-thru window after he took like 10 minutes to dig out exact change on the hottest day of that year. I knew it wouldn't work and explained to him that it had sat for too long. After he berated me for a bit I flipped it and did not break eye contact for the whole time the blizzard was slowly sliding out of the cup. I would like to know how the DQ worker felt when I reached for it at the same time he turned it upside down and I punched the ice cream. When I was 10 I went to DQ and got a dipped cone. The employee reached over the counter to hand me my cone as I reached out and I socked that thing right in the ice cream swirl and the whole chocolate covered gooey ice cream glob fell off. So I went to get a blizzard with a friend once and even though she ordered hers right before me, I got mine about 5 minutes later. Not a huge deal. I didn't care. The kid brings it out, turns it upside down, and just drops it on the floor, cup and all. He says he's sorry and that he'll get me a new one. I said no worries, not a problem. The kid then proceeds to tell me how this won't qualify for a free one. Again, I didn't care nor did I even imply I was going to try to get the free one. I just said I didn't think it would, and watched as he walks back, speaks to a young woman who I assume is the supervisor or manager and I hear her say, "No, definitely not," as she's looking over at me. He comes back to the table and says, "See? She said it doesn't count," and immediately and quickly runs back behind the counter. I eventually get my blizzard and we leave. I was just so confused. I'm not the type of person to be like, "Hey, you fricked it up. Give me free crap," and I didn't even think about it, much less mention it to the kid, and he got so serious about it. Are they lynching DQ employees if they fricking spill a blizzard? It weirded me the frick out. As someone who has never worked at a DQ, from the aforementioned behavior, I have to assume employees are brutally beaten if the blizzard hits the floor counter. Please, benevolent manager, have mercy. I used to work at Dairy Queen when I was a teenager. The only blizzards that would do this were the chocolate chip and banana split. Banana split because the pineapple was so juicy it made it runny. The chocolate chip because all they use for the chocolate part is the same stuff they use for your dipped cone and it wasn't enough to thicken it well. I felt bad because she was embarrassed, and I mean, you don't have to turn it upside down. I would rather you saved yourself embarrassment. You're the kind of customer everyone loves. I got banned from playing the quarter drop game at a nearby DQ when I was in my early 20s because I figured out how to drop the quarter perfectly into the shot glass at the bottom of the fish tank. Since it was literally 1 block away from my apartment, I'd go there every day, sometimes twice a day, and get a free blizzard or burger or whatever. After doing this for almost a month, they told me I wasn't allowed to play the game anymore. No more free blizzards or chicken strips. Worked at a DQ for several years. Honestly, the only time it ever spills was when someone had double cupped it and forgot, so the inside cup just falls out. One possible exception is if it was a blizzard that gets a ton of liquidy ingredients, like someone wants chocolate syrup, strawberries, etc. In those instances, the worker wouldn't turn it upside down. It's pretty easy to tell if it's a solid blizzard or not. Had one accidentally turn my orange Julius upside down because he was the only one there and it was super busy and his brain was on autopilot. When he did it, it was fine. So when we got back in the car, I dumped it upside down cause I thought it was so cool. Was able to grab a nearby frisbee to catch the majority of the blizzard as it all fell out of the cup. Ate it out of the frisbee, ha 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 ha. Ate it out of the frisbee. Tastes like the 90s. This is one of those Reddit posts that comes from a deeply personal place, isn't it? No, I just was wondering. Yay. My local DQ has a sign stating we do not participate in the upside down blizzard promotion. Handwritten underneath it, please don't ask. I worked at Dairy Queen all through high school. This was my time to shine and I got here with 1,700 comments. Maybe one day it'll give you an upvote so you know someone did read your comment. Like it was over 100 degrees because the AC had broken in the restaurant and all I wanted was my Georgia mud fudge blizzard and I had been betrayed not only by God, but by Jesus too. Same guy sometimes. I'm not sure how I'm supposed to react when they flip the blizzard over. Am I to be impressed? Entertained? I mean, it's not like it's the onion volcano at a hibachi grill. You're just flipping a cup of ice cream over. It's not to impress you or entertain. It's to show you the consistency in the ice cream and show that it's not melting. Plus little kids always think it's cool, so it's a good marketing strategy as well. One time the cashier was handing me my blizzard without flipping it. She saw my eyes and smile get big as I reached for it knowing I was about to receive it free. I had been longing for this very moment for years. Long story short, I ended up with my hand inside the blizzard as she tried to flip it at the last second. She then explained that they stopped doing the free blizzard thing years ago. I was disappointed to say the least and left with a sticky hand. Dang, she straight up shut your whole scheme down. You should feel good, because it means they overmixed that blizzard, and now they have to make you a newer, properly mixed, tastier blizzard. Yay. Source: worked at DQ for 3 years. Or we can just enjoy ice cream mashed with crap in it. It's cool you took pride in that, but it's mixed ice cream. I couldn't care less if it does backflips, just get it in my freaking face. OMG, I have story for this one. So this didn't happen to me, but I saw it happen live. An older guy ordered some specialty blizzard that came with the works, fillings, fudge, whipped cream, and a cherry on top. The kid behind the counter finishes making it and calls him over. The two men made intense, silent eye contact as the blizzard is turned upside down and the entire mass of whipped cream plops on the counter. My girlfriend let out a loud AWH and I immediately lost it. I was laughing so hard I had to go outside. When I picture the two of them, eyes locked, as the whipped cream plops onto the counter, I'll lose it, even now. My mom was in college when they introduced the blizzard. The first time she got one, the server accidentally grabbed 2 cups instead of 1. So when she flipped the blizzard over, the cup containing the blizzard fell out of the one she was holding and landed on the counter. To her credit, though, it did stay in the cup the whole way down. This hasn't happened to me, but I did go into DQ drunk once and ordered for a friend and me. I put my hands out to grab them and she flipped them over. I screamed. I didn't know they did that. I thought she knew I was drunk and was dumping them out to frick with me. A lot of DQs in Toronto don't do the turning it upside down anymore. So I've been getting watery butt ice cream which gives me watery butt shoots, so I'm wondering if this is worth it. There is no reason that watery ice cream should give you watery shoots any more than solid ice cream. You might want to get that checked out. Craig Ferguson used to promote the blizzard on the Late Late Show. He turned it upside down all the time on TV. I really hope there's video out there of it spilling on his desk. I worked for a DQ when I was 18-19. My boss owned the building, just sold DQ products with their labels, but was not owned by corporate. She told us that she did it when they first opened the business 35 years ago, but we are not allowed to do it now BC. She was tired of replacing them. So instead, we put extra toppings on top of the blizzard to use that as an excuse to why we couldn't flip it. Formerly on the DQ crew. Here, commonly, the blizzard's inadequacy isn't due to a lack of bliss skill, but because of lukewarm ice cream coming out of overworked old cream machines. It's a disservice to the art of blizzard making. I remember when I was a kid there was this Iranian guy who ran the DQ locally who was this really nice fellow, but he was extremely hairy. Basically looked like an Iranian Robin Williams. Anyhow, he would flip the blizzard and then put it back, but in the process you could see arm hair and dandruff flakes come off his arm and then settle onto your blizzard as he flipped it back down. My parents were perplexed why I wouldn't eat and I feigned a stomach ache. I used to work at a DQ in a mall. There was this one dude who worked nearby and used to come to our store every day. He would always order a banana split blizzard, the runniest possible blizzard you could get, thanks to the banana, strawberries and multiple sauces. Really, it was the only runny one you could get, every freaking time. This Dow Checano would demand that we turn his blizzard upside down, every freaking time. We'd tell him no because it was too runny, every freaking time. He would demand it for free because if you don't turn it upside down, it's free. Not true. Then, he'd start yelling at whoever was serving him until we threatened to call security and have him removed. I don't know what this guy's damage was. I always shake my head a little when they turn around to try to signal them not to do it. When they do it anyway I say you didn't have to do that. When they do it and it falls out I just start eating it off the counter staring at them the whole time and between bites saying is this what you wanted? Lady looked away while she was doing it and it fell on the floor and handed me an empty cup. I stood there until she realized it was all over the floor. Found the whole incident pretty funny. I got a blizzard today and promptly dropped it in the parking lot. Utter devastation is pretty close to what I was feeling. Capital F. Got a grasshopper blizzard, regional thing, and has whipped cream on it. Enter flip and whipped cream flies off top and the cashier just stands there and burst into tears. I'm socially awkward so I start apologizing and got upgraded to a large for being polite. Good day. Hope I'm not too late but I used to work at DQ when I was in high school. Anyway, I worked Friday nights which in the summers was a massive, non-stop crowd of kids from 7 PM when I arrived to around 1 AM. Every Friday, at around 10:30 a gentleman would come in alone, always smiling and super cheerful. He would order an extra large, vanilla, banana blizzard. What I learned early on was that when you blend bananas, they become so liquidy and mushy. Normally I would never hand someone a blizzard upside down as that was just not a risk I wanted to take. But who wanted their extra large blizzard served upside down every time? Yep, you guessed it, Mr. Banana Blizzard himself. Upon making his extra large blizzard the first time, I nervously bring it over to him. Careful not to spill any of it as it was filled to the brim. I stick a large red spoon in it, ring him up, and wish him a great night. He looks at me stunned, confused, exclaiming that I wasn't going to serve it upside down to him. I look at him and reply that I'm afraid it might spilt out. He assures me that if I made it properly then it wouldn't spill. My co-worker standing next to me is looking in horror. Blending 2 large bananas for his extra large blizzard made it basically banana soup. I nervously replied that I wouldn't and he slid the blizzard back to me. He wouldn't take the dang blizzard if it wasn't served upside down to him. So I grabbed the blizzard and flipped it upside down, not breaking eye contact with him. The entire content slid out and smushed onto the counter, spraying him and myself. I smirked and gave him a satisfying "I told you so." All the man could do was stand there and chuckle and demand I make it again but the right way, which I tried again. I barely blended the blizzard and served him vanilla ice cream with mushy lumps of bananas, but when I flipped it upside down, the contents stuck. He left happy, another satisfied customer. I hated working at DQ. The person behind the counter and I were equally shocked. They've always done it. It never spills. But there it was on the counter. We just both kind of stared at each other for a second, speechless for a few seconds, until she snapped out of it and grabbed a manager. They quickly discovered the machine wasn't keeping the soft serve cold enough. They had it figured out and made me another one by the time I finished my food. So it wasn't any big deal. I work at Dairy Queen. I had 2 teens around 15 or 16 buy blizzards, and when I brought them to their table, only one of them saw me flip them. The other guy that did not see me flip it sat at the table for 15 plus minutes letting it melt. He then came up front with a completely melted blizzard and demanded I flip it. I told him I already did and no way in heck was I going to flip this melted blizzard, and he asked for a manager. The manager then told him we are not going to flip it and he had to keep the melted blizzard with no refund. Honestly, I felt pretty bad for the guy working there. He looked like Satan himself was coming to punish him for his sins. My sister and I were trying not to crack up, though. Not me, not a blizzard. When we were younger, my 2 older brothers and I went to DQ with my mom. I'll guess we were 8, 6 and 4 at the time. The oldest, let's call him Paul, and I got blizzards. The second oldest, let's call him Mark, got a Mr. Misty slush. This is the 80s, mind you, so for some reason we sat down after ordering and the server brought our treats to us at the table. Mark gets his drink first, starts enjoying immediately. Here's your blizzard, flips blizzard, hands to Paul, and here's yours. Flips blizzard, hands to me. Mark sees the 2 drinks get flipped and decides to join in the fun. He flips the Mr. Misty slush and, of course, it dumps all over the table and on all 4 of us. This never happened to me, but I worked at DQ for 3 years and have dumped my fair share of blizzards. It's always embarrassing, but one of the most memorable times for me was when these 3 kind old ladies came in and ordered a large M&M blizzard to share. As I took their order, they told me all about how they hadn't been into DQ in like 20 years or something to that effect and how excited they all were. The thing about M&M blizzards is the crushed candy pieces will rip through the cup when you blend it, causing the ice cream to leak out. To fix this, you just slip another cup on top of the ripped one. Now, at this point I'd worked there for about 2 years and flipped many a double cupped blizzard with no issues. You just have to keep your finger on the rim while you flip it, easy. So I finished making it, brought it out to the table and starting chatting with these nice little ladies. I grabbed their blizzard to flip it and immediately forgot it was double cupped. They gasped in horror as the bottom cup slid out of the top one and the whole large blizzard plopped onto the table, covering all the ladies in ice cream. They had no idea about the flip all blizzards rule. To them, I had just stopped our pleasant chat to dump their blizzard out on the table for no reason. I apologized like crazy and remade it, of course, but dang, I will never forget that moment. TLDR, I fricked up and mentally scarred some old ladies by accidentally dumping a blizzard on them. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.